support they have accorded us in order to make sure that this has been a fruitful and quite the final journey of the late president. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ben Troy Njue, and Lensa Odingo has been our sign language interpreter. Of course, they have been interchanging to ensure that you are also kept abreast with the latest happening. But before I do leave you, we do leave you with the documentary of the life and times of the late former president, which is also would make a good tribute for us all. Thank you so much indeed for watching, and of course for keeping it tuned to KBC Channel 1.
Mwai Kibaki na hapa kwamba
born Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki on 15th of November 1931 in Gatuyaine village, Othaya, in present-day Nyeri County, Kibaki worked as a lecturer at Makerere University in Uganda.
Kibaki useme na wananchi wa Kirinyaga.
Kibaki returned to Kenya to become KANU's executive officer and helped draft Kenya's independence constitution. In 1962, Kibaki was elected the Member of Parliament for Donholm constituency, present-day Makadara. Subsequently, he was appointed Assistant Minister for Finance and Chairman of Economic Planning Commission in 1963. He played a key role in drafting the famous 1965 sessional paper number 10 on African socialism and its application to planning in Kenya. He would be promoted to become Minister for Commerce and Industry in 1966 and later Minister for Finance and Economic Planning in 1969 after he was re-elected to Parliament to represent Donholm constituency.
Have to divert a very significant proportion of our resources towards expenditures for defense. And thus this means that we will not be spending as much as we would like to do on other.
Following what is said to be pressure from his closest rival in the 1969 elections, Jael Mbogo, Kibaki moved his political base from Nairobi to Othaya in 1974. He attributed this to what he termed as calls from the people of Othaya. He was elected Othaya MP in 1974, getting re-elected to Parliament in 1979, 1983, 1988, 1992, 1997, 2002 and 2007. When Daniel Arap Moi succeeded Jomo Kenyatta as the country's president in 1978, Kibaki was named Kenya's vice president, but retained his position as finance minister. He was moved to the Ministry of Home Affairs in 1982. A fallout with President Moi in March 1988 saw Kibaki demoted from the vice presidency and moved to the Ministry of Health. Despite the fallout with Moi, Kibaki would remain loyal to the president and the ruling party KANU. Hence, it came as a surprise for many when he resigned from government in December 1991, days after the repeal of Section 2A of the Constitution, which restored multipartyism in Kenya. His resignation would then see him form the Democratic Party, DP, which he used to vie for presidency in 1992 against Moi, Kenneth Matiba and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Kibaki came in third. He ran for presidency again in 1997, this time round finishing second behind Moi and becoming the leader of the official opposition in 1998. Mwai Kibaki would give the presidency another shot in 2002, this time round being boosted by a host of other opposition parties under the National Alliance Rainbow Coalition. And truth to the saying, that time is a charm. On the 27th of December 2002, Kibaki and NARC registered victory over KANU with 62% of the votes compared to his competitor Uhuru Kenyatta's 31%. The win brought to an end KANU's 4 decades rule since independence. Kibaki got re-elected in 2007 for his second and final term as President of the Republic of Kenya.
He was born on 15th November 1931 in Dhunguri village, Othaya division in the then Nyeri district of Central Province, now Nyeri County. His parents, Kibaki Gavanji and Teresia Wanjiku, were peasant farmers. Even though he was baptized as Emilio Stanley by Italian missionaries in his youth, he has always been known as Mwai Kibaki. He began his academic journey at Gatuyaini School, which he attended for the first 2 years, completing what was then called Sub A and Sub B, equivalent of Grade 1 and Grade 2. He would later join Karima Mission School for the 3 more classes of primary, and between 1944 and 1946, he proceeded to Madari School, now Nyeri High School, for Standard 4 to 6. Aside from his academic prowess, he acquired skills in carpentry, masonry, and agriculture. He joined Mangu High School in 1947 and passed his O-level examination with a maximum of 6 points in 1950. In his final year in Mangu, Kibaki considered becoming a soldier, perhaps inspired by the veterans of the First and Second World Wars in his native village. He, however, opted to shelve his ambition and instead joined Makerere University in Kampala, Uganda, to study economics, history, and political science. His academic brilliance saw him graduate best in his class in 1955 with a first-class honors degree in economics. After his graduation, he took up an appointment as Assistant Sales Manager, Shell Company of East Africa, Uganda Division. It was while working there that he earned a scholarship to pursue a postgraduate studies in any British university. He joined the prestigious London School of Economics for a BSc in Public Finance, graduating with a distinction. In 1958, he went back to Makerere University, this time as an assistant lecturer, and taught in the economics department. In early 1960, Kibaki left academia for active politics by giving up his job at Makerere and returning to Kenya to begin his journey into politics as the executive officer of Kenya African National Union Party. In 1961, Kibaki married Lucy Muthoni, a daughter of a church minister who was then a secondary school head teacher. The couple was blessed with 4 children: Judy Wanjiku, Jimmy Kibaki, David Kagai, and Tony Githinji. Lucy, however, died on 26th of April 2016 at 80 years at Buma Cromwell Hospital in London after a brief hospitalization at the Nairobi Hospital for chest pains. He was a committed member of the Roman Catholic Church and attended mostly Sunday afternoon services at the Consolata Shrines Catholic Church in Nairobi. He enjoyed playing golf and was a member of the Muthaiga Golf Club.
All of us, both young and old, men and women, Kenyans of every group, every race, every creed have embarked on a journey.
When former President Mwai Kibaki was sworn in December 2002, the Kenyan economy was facing major challenges characterized by slow GDP growth of less than 1%, revenue collection of lower than 200 billion shillings, poor infrastructure, and poor investment climate. During his swearing in, Kibaki singled out poverty and food security. Unemployment, deterioration of the education sector, lack of access to basic and affordable health services, as well as a constitutional review are some of his immediate assignments. This was powered by increased government expenditure, doubling in Kibaki's first term in office to hit 700 billion shillings in the 2007-2008 financial year, to 1.2 trillion shillings by the time he was leaving office in 2013.
The launch of this program marks an important milestone in my government's efforts to secure a bright future for the children and youth of Kenya.
Free primary education was Kibaki's election promise in 2002, and he delivered.
Watoto wasome wote, sio tu primary. Primary siku hizi ni kitu kidogo. Primary hapana masomo. Hiyo ni mwanzo tu, mtoto anaanza kusoma primary basi. Hiyo wewe hapa ulipokuwa bado kusoma, ulifikiri mtu akisoma primary amesoma. Hapana. Hiyo ni kazi ya mtoto. Anasaidiwa asome hiyo. Just of course. Masomo yanaanza wakati ameingia high school.
In his last budget of 2013-2014, 288.5 billion shillings was set aside for roads, expanding generation capacity and access to electricity, modern national ICT infrastructure, and expansion of ports and rail facilities.
When we took over, our budget was less than 180 billion Kenya shillings. We are not talking of 1.4 trillion. Trillion, if you ask to count 1, 2, 3 trillion, you take 1,000 years.
Termed as an astute economist, under Kibaki's rule, the economy experienced steady growth, where GDP growth was in 2011 4.4%, with income tax collection having more than quadrupled to 160 billion shillings. However, during his tenure, government's expenditure outpaced revenue collection.
We will not tolerate those who have no respect for human life or private property. Moreover, our country believes in the rule of law, and therefore those who are victims of violence should not take the law into their own hands, but should report the perpetrators to the law enforcement authorities.
The late former President Mwai Kibaki will be remembered for many things, among them steering the country's economy amid the meltdown in 2008-2009 due to the effects of the post-election violence and the inauguration of the new constitution that introduced the devolved system of governance.
It was in former President Mwai Kibaki's first cabinet that sports gained stature in government. Honorable Najib Balala was appointed as Minister for Gender, Sport and Social Services. This was followed by the creation of the Sports Stadium Management Board to manage facilities in the country. It was also during his presidency that a Sports Act was initiated, and it came to life in 2013. On the 5th of July 2003, the former president was at the stadium as Dennis Oliech scored the winning goal against Cape Verde to send the Harambee Stars to the 2004 Africa Cup of Nations. In 2007, Kenya successfully hosted the World Cross Country Championships in Mombasa as President Kibaki's first term came to a close. In 2010, he officially opened the African Senior Athletics Championships at the Nyayo National Stadium, where Kenya topped the medal table, scooping 25 medals, 10 of them being gold. In 2009, he got to meet the world record holder in the 100 meters Usain Bolt, who was in the country to adopt a cheetah. and he also received the FIFA World Cup trophy. From a family perspective, the former president's son Jimmy and his grandson Mwai Kibaki Jr. were ardent motocross riders and represented the country in different classes. From 1978, former President Kibaki served as a patron of the Kenya Golf Union, and Muthaiga Golf Club was his favorite hangout. As president, he attended the Kenya Open Golf Championship event, with his last one in office taking place at the current country club in February of 2013. In 2018, he was among the 12 persons inducted into the Kenya Open Golf Limited Hall of Fame. In his honor, the Nyeri Club hosts the annual Kibaki Trophy tournament. The trophy was donated to the club in 1976 when the late Kibaki was Minister for Finance. To sportsmen, the legacy of the former president is a defined cash reward scheme for medalists at global events that has been retained to date. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
(1992, 1997, 2002 and 2007. When Daniel Arap Moi succeeded Jomo Kenyatta as the country's president in 1978, Kibaki was named Kenya's vice president but retained his position as finance minister. He was moved to the Ministry of Home Affairs in 1982. A fallout with President Moi in March 1988 saw Kibaki demoted from the vice presidency and moved to the Ministry of Health as minister. Despite the fallout with Moi, Kibaki would remain loyal to the president and the ruling party KANU. Hence, it came as a surprise for many when he resigned from government in December 1991, days after the repeal of Section 2A of the Constitution, which restored multi-partyism in Kenya. His resignation would then see him form the Democratic Party, DP, with which he used to vie for presidency in 1992 against Moi, Kenneth Matiba and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Kibaki came in third. He ran for presidency again in 1997, this time around finishing second behind Moi and becoming the leader of the official opposition in 1998. Mwai Kibaki would give the presidency another shot in 2002, this time around boosted by a host of other opposition parties under the National Alliance Rainbow Alliance. And truth to the saying, that time is the charm. On 27th December 2002, Kibaki and NARC registered a landslide victory over KANU with 62% of the votes compared to his competitor Uhuru Kenyatta's 31%. The win brought an end to KANU's 4 decades rule since independence. Kibaki got re-elected in 2007 for his second and final term as the president of Kenya. Mwai Kibaki passed away on the 22nd of April 2022.
The high premium Mwai Kibaki placed on education was exemplified by how he emphatically pushed for free primary education. This he began as an election campaign pledge and fulfilled it soon after being sworn in as Kenya's third president.
Ni lazima tuwe na bidii ya kufanya.
As a former finance minister, he knew only too well the challenges brought by rapid population growth.
Viwanda vijengwe kote katika Kenya, na sio tu katika miji mikubwa ya Kenya vile Nairobi na Mombasa.
Still on responsible parenting, he cautioned the youth against excessive drinking.
I have no reason but to appeal to you. Please, do not yield to the field of drinking. I say this not because I don't drink, no, I do. If anybody wants to go back to golf and you need clubs, come to me, because I have a lot of clubs which have been given to me by people who thought I would have a chance to play, but then I did not use them.
He used words that left many in wonder.
if you just hang around and don't register, you are useless. No, true. You can't be useful. You can't be any use because you are not participating in the development of Kenya. Sio kuona serikali uangalie kuuliza serikali nataka unisaidie hii na nataka unisaidie hiyo na hiyo ingine na hii ingine hata huyu mtoto asome. Taabu zako unaweza kutuambia tangu asubuhi mpaka jioni. Na usifikiri hatuzijui. Kwani hazitujui tumeishi wapi?
Sio lazima wewe kila siku ya pili ya tatu ati lazima uproduce mtoto. What the hell? Hapana. Hiyo ni kukosa adabu.
I want to make it very clear that I have only one dear wife, Lucy, who's here, and I do not have any other. I am very grateful that I have had the opportunity to be here. I came a little bit late for no good earthly reason. It was except just being delayed along the road, just talking to people. God bless you.
Kibaki was in many ways unlike his predecessor Daniel Moi, who was vocal on many issues of national importance.
I appeal to all political leaders and their supporters to engage in peaceful campaigns. Let us all remember that Kenya's collective destiny is far more important than the interest of any individual person or group.
He, however, on a few occasions seized the opportunity to set the record straight, as he did during the clamor by the proscribed Mombasa Republican Army to have the coast secede from Kenya.
Hakuna haja mtu yeyote awe ni nani au nani kujaribu kutuharibia nchi. Hakuna mtu ataweza hiyo. Wananchi wa Kenya wamejitoa na wako tayari, na hakuna mtu ambaye ni yeyote ambaye ataweza kuleta fujo katika nchi ya Kenya.
Ikiwa wewe kazi yako ni wizi wa ng'ombe, kweli una maana gani? Una maana wewe ni binadamu ya mavi ya kuku.
About 10 years we have been off, and we have clubs heaping up there. So if anybody wants to go back to golf and you need clubs, come to me, because I have a lot of clubs which have been given to me by people who thought I would have a chance to play, but then I did not use them.
When he lived, the man who would become the third president of the Republic of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, was a lover of the game of golf. Although his membership cut across various golf clubs, his heart appeared rooted in Nairobi's Mutembei Golf Club.
Somebody who has been associated with this club for a long time. I know the word out there usually is, if you're at Mutembei, you're at the place where Kibaki plays, and Kibaki was always associated with Mutembei.
So we spent a day in Mutembei Golf Club where golfers talked about the man they adored. To some like 85-year-old Solomon Karanja, his relationship with Kibaki runs deep and personal.
When I graduated and I was working for a short time before doing the university again, he came and stayed with me at Adams Arcade. We were 3 bachelors there. Myself, Mwai, and a friend of his who had come from Cambridge. We actually stayed there until both of us went to get married to us, separate sprouts. Mwai got married to Lucy and went to Nairobi West. I got married to Anjiro and went to Parklands.
Kibaki was part of the campaign that pushed for the Africanization of golf.
By that time, you got a critical mass of Africans who were in a position to be able to afford to join golf courses. And yes, there was a lot of promotion of the African professionals and businessmen to join golf courses.
While deputizing the late President Daniel Arap Moi between 1978 and 1988, Kibaki would religiously create time for a round of golf within his busy schedules.
Kujuana na mzee Kibaki, nilijuana naye wakati mimi niliingia kuwa gofa. Na yeye pia alikuwa ni gofa. Hapo wakati tunacheza competition na wakati tunacheza friendly, sana alikuwa tunakaribiana kwa sababu ya umri ulikuwa unakaribiana. Sio mimi peke yangu, rika yetu, rika yake na yangu ilikuwa inakaribiana. Sana tulikuwa, na wakati kunafanywa draw, huyu atacheza na nani na huyu anacheza na nani, makapten sana walikuwa wanachaguaga watu ambayo wanaonekana ndio wanaweza kucheza na mzee, maana yeye ni mkubwa. Alikuwa anatafutiwa wale watu karibu na karibia rika yake. Kwa hivyo ingawa sisi hatukujuana naye, hata kama mimi sikujuana naye, nilikuja kuingia kwake laini yake, shauri ya kuwekwa draw pamoja na yeye.
Kibaki did not only play golf, he supported the growth of the game.
Very instrumental in terms of protecting the golf courses. So we had golf courses that were under threat of grabbers. We had clubs like Kisii Golf Club, Nyeri Golf Club, even Nyali was under threat. There was Mombasa Golf Club also. So all this, when former president was the Minister of Finance, Duncan Ndegwa was very instrumental and went and talked also to the former president when he was finance minister to protect these golf courses. And were it not for Mwai Kibaki at that point, would have lost a lot of golf courses in this country. But he stood by the golf clubs and he ensured that they got their title deeds and their paperwork done. And he protected any other golf course that was in danger of grabbers.
From 1975, he sponsored the annual Kibaki Trophy tournament at the Nyeri Club. In 1978, Kibaki assumed the leadership of the country's golf fraternity as a patron of the Kenya Golf Union.
But him being the patron of Kenya Golf Union, he was the person who was in charge of all the golf. KGU, Kenya Golf Union, is the body that governs golf in the country. From PGK, which is a professional golf society, we have got KGU now that handles the amateur. We have KLGU that handles the Kenya Ladies Golf Union. And then we've got Junior Golf Foundation, which is for the juniors. So he was in charge of all this. So you can tell this is somebody who was governing the game of golf, and he's the one who's helped to take it to the level that it is at right now.
His leadership of the game, members say, is similar to how he spearheaded the affairs of the country.
No, Kibaki was a very interesting man in terms of leadership. He used to very often say that you cannot accomplish anything great alone. And he used to emphasize the importance of teamwork. And even when we were playing game of golf, he always used to emphasize that this game you can never be played by a single person. You can play alone, but it's more enjoyable when it is played as a team. As a leader, Kibaki believed also in delegation, but not just delegation alone, but he always believed that if you get the best people, and you give them a job, and then you delegate, and then you leave them alone. You do not interfere with them, and you let them do their job, and they should only come to you only when they have a special challenge which required his attention. Therefore, he let clubs manage themselves. He never interfered with the elections of club members or leaders.
And he did not like those who looked down upon their juniors.
I think he was very much an easy man to get with, and concerned about others. I remember coming up here once, just to give you an example, and with Kirubi, the little Chris Kirubi, we were playing golf, and as we were coming up there, Kirubi threw his club into that fence. And then he asked his caddy to go and get it, and Mwai told the caddy not to get it. He has thrown it deliberately. Let him go get it. That's the kind of man he is.
Kibaki was inducted into the Kenya Open Golf Limited Hall of Fame in 2018 for his contribution to the sport.
I met the late president on the course, especially because my husband would have occasions of teaming up with him and play with him a game of golf. And he would come and let me know what a pleasant person the president was on the golf course, and took it very nicely, very positively, and enjoyed even when the golf did not produce the desired results.
And when on the course at Muthaiga, Kibaki was easy, says a 90-year-old golfer.
Sisi tunamuona ni vice president, lakini yeye anatufanya tuwe free. Alikuwa mzee ajabu sana. Sisi huko tunaogopa kukaribiana na yeye na chochote tunaogopa, lakini yeye anatufanya tuwe free. Alikuwa mzee tofauti sasa.
Kibaki's love to play golf came to an abrupt halt following a near-fatal accident at the Machakos Junction, the year he would later win the presidency.
Played his last game of golf with yours truly, me. As a matter of fact, I was marking his card, Mr. Peter Kanyago and Mr. Koome. It was a day we had been in the office, in the DP office, or in the political party office of the day. And he just suggested and said, let's go and have a game. We had that game at Karen Golf Club. That following weekend, he made his trip to Kambani, and by the time he finished it, he came to the hospital after the accident and never played golf again.
On the 22nd of April 2022, retired President Emilio Mwai Kibaki died, aged 90.
Sonane. moto.